Good afternoon. My name is Doug Gilman, and I will be presenting the environmental impacts of coal ash disposal. During the next few minutes, you will learn what coal ash actually is, the reason why we should be worried about coal ash pollutants, the health effects of coal ash pollutants, and the current proposed solutions by the EPA to solve the effects of coal ash. What is coal ash? When pulverized coal is burned to produce electricity, it leaves behind inorganic matter, including fly ash, bottom ash, and boiler slag. This toxic byproduct that is left over after the coal is burned is referred to as coal ash. Every year, the nation's coal plants produce 140 million tons of coal ash pollution. All that ash has to go somewhere, so it's dumped in the backyards of the power plants across the nation, into open air pits, landfills, quarries, and ponds as either dry ash or a wet slurry. Potential large-scale disasters can arise from coal ash buildup, ranging from the massive coal ash spill in Kingston, Tennessee, which released 5.4 million cubic yards of coal ash, to gradual contamination of coal ash toxins seeping into our drinking water sources. Coal ash disposal regulations would directly affect the million tons of coal ash that is annually disposed of and not recycled, reused, or reclaimed. The diagram in the bottom corner shows the processes and cycles of coal ash disposal occurring daily at power plants across the world, resulting in harmful contamination. Why should we be worried about coal ash storage? Coal power generation is increasing in the United States and worldwide. Therefore, the environmental impacts of coal-derived energy must be minimized. This is a difficult task as coal ash waste is the nation's second largest waste stream after municipal solid waste. Currently, coal ash is not subject to federal protections, and state laws governing coal ash disposal are usually weak or non-existent, varying from state to state. The result, millions of tons of coal ash are being stored in ponds and landfills. The danger in this is that any structural failure would cause catastrophic spillage. Such environmental impacts from coal ash leaks last for 10 years or more. It is said that living near a wet coal ash storage pond is significantly more dangerous than smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. This brings us to the health effects of coal ash pollutants. Coal ash toxins have the potential to injure all major organ systems, damage physical health and development, and contribute to death. Coal ash contains arsenic, lead, mercury, selenium, as well as aluminum, barium, boron, and chlorine, all of which can be toxic. With prolonged exposure, public health hazards, and environmental threats to nearby communities, increased risk of cancer, heart damage, lung disease, kidney disease, reproductive problems, birth defects, learning disabilities, and other illnesses can arise. Some of these toxins are absorbed more quickly than the body can expel them. This leads to the toxins remaining in the body longer, contributing to a more significant damage. The chart below lists the coal ash pollutants along with the human health effects. The human body diagram shows how various toxic pollutants damage the major organ systems. Now, a proposed solution. The EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, proposed two main options for regulating the ash. Option 1 would regulate coal ash as a solid waste. It would require more frequent inspections for wet ash ponds, impose controls on the dust ash dry sites, and close dumps that were structurally unsound. It would allow companies to maintain wet ash ponds, but they would have to install liners and other safeguards. However, there wouldn't be any federal enforcement of these standards. It would be all left to either the states or the citizen lawsuits. In all, the EPA estimates that this would cost some $587 million per year, or $8 billion total. Option 2, the more comprehensive option, would regulate coal ash as a hazardous waste. This option would involve an additional set of rules on top of option 1. The federal government would have direct say over the enforcement, not the states. Utilities couldn't build any new wet ash ponds and would have to phase out their existing ponds. The EPA would oversee every aspect of coal ash handling, from storage to transportation to disposal, and companies would have to show that they have financial resources necessary to clean up after disasters. In all, the EPA estimates option 2 would cost companies $1.4 billion a year, or $20 billion total. Overall, environmental groups tend to favor this second option, with direct EPA enforcement. Mining and utility companies believe that the hazardous waste option would be far too costly. In summary, various toxic components of coal ash are blowing, spilling, and leaching from storage units into air, land, and human drinking water, which poses negative health impacts. The EPA's goal is to ensure the safe management of coal ash that is disposed into surface impoundments and landfills, as additional federal regulations are necessary to protect human health and the environment. Thank you.